Hi guys, it's Omer from MMOs.com, and I'm doing another quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending January 9th, 2017. This is episode number 77 of the recap, and the first bit of news this week is a big one. The Chinese Wuxia MMORPG, I can't pronounce that for my life, Moonlight Blade will be coming to the West. Moonlight Blade, for those that don't know, is one of Tencent's newest MMORPGs, and it boasts a giant world with action-oriented combat. The Western expansion plans were mentioned in an update trailer for the game that was in Chinese. No other formal announcement has been made, so an actual playable Western version is probably still 6 to 8 months away at a minimum, if I had to guess. And with this announcement, it does look like more and more Chinese MMORPGs are embracing the Western market, and seeing a high production value game like Moonlight Blade coming over to the West is definitely exciting stuff. I mean, the video in the background just looks absolutely gorgeous. And speaking of high quality, high production value Chinese MMORPGs, we have Justice from NetEase, which just showed off its first in-game footage, and the game looks absolutely gorgeous. In fact, it's the best graphically looking video game I've ever seen based on a trailer. Just check out the video in the background. This is all in-game footage, and it looks, again, absolutely stunning. The game is called Justice in the West. In China, the game is called Treacherous Online. Not sure how they got Justice from Treacherous Online, but let's just oogle at the graphics for a little bit. There's still no release date, unfortunately, but the trailer has me inspired. I mean, just look at those graphics. Again, holy crap, it looks pretty. Obviously, it doesn't mean anything about the gameplay, but we got some awesome graphics in Justice. Not much is known about the game. It's just eventually going to come out. And if anything, this is more of a teaser than an actual trailer, because there's no actual gameplay shown, though it is in-game footage. Up next, last bit of Chinese MMORPG news, we have Revelation Online. The game's closed beta 2 officially ended this last week, and its next phase of beta is starting in early 2017. They said next phase of beta, which means they haven't ruled out another closed beta. It might be an open beta, it might not be. All we know is the next phase begins early 2017, so it's probably going to be later this month if I had to guess. I'm kind of hoping for an open beta because a third closed beta would kind of suck. They did confirm that they got all of the English translations done for realsies this time. I guess last time they were kind of JK, but they are for realsies. Got all the English translations finally done for Revelation Online. But the game is definitely making progress. Hopefully it's an open beta. We'll have to wait and see. Up next, some news for SMITE. Not the PC game, but rather the upcoming mobile card game, SMITE Rivals, which was just announced this last week, and it's basically going to be a mobile card game that's going to play a lot like Clash Royale. I mean, if you look at the actual gameplay and the video in the background, you can clearly see it's inspired by Clash Royale, but of course based on the SMITE franchise. Everyone's been trying to jump into the mobile card game or just card game market after the success of Hearthstone. I think SMITE is being a little smarter about it and going for that Clash Royale-esque gameplay rather than just the CCG stuff we've seen so many companies chase. And even if you like SMITE and you have no interest in this mobile game, just by checking it out, they're going to be giving you some cool cross-promotion content, so you can get some cool exclusive skins in SMITE just by checking it out. So it's a win-win. No word on a release date just yet, though. If I had to guess, though, I suspect they're going to do well. I mean, Clash Royale makes a lot of money, and everyone has copied like traditional card games, but not necessarily Clash Royale. So, and SMITE's a pretty popular MOBA. It's one of the most popular MOBAs after League and Dota, so I think it'll do well. Next up, some big news for Final Fantasy XIV. The last big patch before the upcoming expansion, patch 3.5, The Far Edge of Fate, just released a teaser trailer showing off all the new content. The patch is set to launch on January 17th, and will be introducing a slew of new content to the game, namely a new 24-player raid, 2 new dungeons, additional main story quests, side story quests, new Beast Tribe quests, some new hairstyles, and a lot more. F14 has been adding a lot of content to the game for free in between expansions, so it's quite awesome. And again, this will all be launching on January 17th, and it should keep players busy before the expansion launches in the summer. Up next, a bit of news for ArcheAge. The game's 3.1 update is launching in South Korea on January 19th, and will be making its way to Western shores in the near future. The goal of the update is to give players additional stuff to work towards, namely more character growth and item growth. They want to promote maritime trade and balance some of the other goodies in the game. If you look at the Korean version's patch notes, they're adding specific features like increased level cap beyond the max level, namely like 7 special levels, which can be obtained through a crazy amount of grind, as well as obtaining various items. So there'll be more content to explore in ArcheAge in the near future with the 3.1 update. No word on a Western release of that just yet, though. But we do know they'll be releasing more information on it on January 19th, the same time the Korean version launches its update. Moving right along, a bit of news that a lot of people probably expected. Landmark is officially shutting down. Daybreak revealed that the game will be shutting down on February 21st, 2017. It was originally pitched as a complement side game to EverQuest Next, which was also cancelled. And after EverQuest Next was cancelled, the fate of Landmark was always kind of up in the air. They kept it going for a while. It was supposed to be a sandbox game, but it never quite made it. I mean, when I first heard of Landmark, I thought it was going to be the modding tools and the fun stuff to accompany EverQuest Next, but because that never panned out, the vision for Landmark was never clear, so the shutdown shouldn't be a big surprise. I think a lot of people saw this one coming, but rest in pepperoni, Landmark on February 21st, 2017. And I move right along in some more positive news. The Elder Scrolls Online's Homesteads officially launched on the public test servers this last week. It introduces the game's housing system called Homesteads to the game. Other instance, so quantity and being able to buy them shouldn't be an issue the way it is in some games. No word on when it's going to be launching on the live servers. If you play ESO, it's actually a really nice feature. Housing gives players things to work towards, and since I really like housing in MMOs, I am glad to see this in ESO. Good job, ZeniMax. You've done good. Move right along, an update for the biggest Western MMORPG, World of Warcraft. The game's newest raid, the Nighthold, is officially launching on January 17th as a part of the Legion expansion. Again, January 17th is when normal and heroic difficulties are open. On the 24th, you get Mythic difficulty and Raid Finder Wing 1, and more difficulties and more modes will open up as time passes. By March 7th, all of the Night Finders content will be available on the game's Raid Finder. I expect some more Legion goodies as time passes. Up next, some pretty big news for WildStar. Yes, WildStar from NCSoft and Carbine Games is definitely not dead yet. They're launching a pretty big expansion called Power of the Primal Matrix. A big update rather, not necessarily an expansion. It introduces the game's Power Matrix, which basically allows players to progress after they reach max level by unlocking some sort of sphere grid. And along with that system, 2 new content areas are also being introduced to the game. Given that the game is still getting a steady state of updates, I think WildStar will keep on trucking. I don't think it's going to die anytime soon, but the player base numbers are still low. Right along, a bit of news for Diablo 3. That retro remake of Diablo 1 in the Diablo 3 universe is officially live on Blizzard servers. Players can travel through a portal and enter Tristram and re-explore the good stuff of Diablo 1. It's actually really well done. It's not just necessarily a remake. They actually use the Diablo 3 engine and they actually make it look a little more retro than actual Diablo 3. They kind of, change the way the pixelation looks and the way your camera turns, the way your character moves to give you that retro feel. So it's a pretty cool throwback to Diablo 1, and it all exists within Diablo 3. It'll only be playable in January though, so if you're looking forward to trying it out, you gotta do it this month. Moving right along, a bit of news for Elsword. The game's 5-year-long story content, Elysian, is finally ending with a bang. We have 2 new dungeons for level 87 to 90 players, and it'll be wrapping up all that story content which began 5 years ago in that Elysian chapter. The first dungeon is called Fortress of Solace, and the next one is Memories of Halted Sun. Both are for level 87 to 90 players. Newer players can still enjoy the content update because there are some events going on to celebrate the launch of the update, as there usually is. And with the end of this chapter, there'll be some more goodies for Elsword in the near future. It's definitely not the end. The game is still doing well, so expect more updates in the near future. Up next, a bit of news for Atlantica Online. The game was available through Nexon for quite some time, but it is moving over to Velof on January 11th, the same publisher behind Luminary Rise of the Gunzu. It's a self-developed title by Nexon, but they will no longer be publishing it in the West. It'll be available through Velof, and nothing should really change. Players can transfer their characters and all that good stuff. And again, on January 11th, if you're still playing Atlantica. We're along a bit of mobile news, this time for Icarus M, a mobile version of Riders of Icarus. It's being published by Netmarble globally, so we will be seeing an English release of this one hopefully relatively soon. It is developed by WeMade Entertainment, and it uses Unreal Engine 4, so the in-game graphics should look really pretty. Gameplay-wise, it looks a lot like other mobile action RPGs, namely, it reminds me of Heroes or Incredible Tales. We should hopefully see a Western release relatively soon, but no word on exactly when just yet. Up next, news for another mobile game. This time it's called 100 Soul, and it's the same game that we refer to as Project 100 in the past. It's made by the guy that made Dragon Nest, and it's a mobile RPG, and it'll be launching in 13 different countries apparently relatively soon. No word on which 13 countries. We did hear in the past it was 70% done back in November, so by now it should basically be almost done. It looks gorgeous. We talked about it in the podcast in the past, but beyond that, we don't know too much. It did get an official name, and it's going to be launching in 13 countries relatively soon. The next and last bit of news is also a mobile title, this time RF Mobile. Yes, RF Online is having a mobile game. It is RF Mobile and is a prequel to the RF Online franchise on PC. Can't really call it a franchise because it's only one game right now, but it'll be a franchise after this one comes out. It will be a hero collector though, so don't expect a full-on MMORPG. In fact, the game has a good chance of becoming a franchise because they did register the trademark RF Online 2 in the past, so we might see an RF Online 2 in the future as well. But the mobile game should be coming out eventually, but again, no release date just yet for a lot of these mobile games. Anyway guys, that's it for MMO news this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later guys.